Welcome back, everyone, and thanks for joining us for another deep dive. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give us a like if you're enjoying the show. Today, we're plunging into the world of terror and urban myths with a legend that rises from the banks of the Dnieper River, the legend of the Dnieper Triton.
It's a really fascinating legend, because it reflects just how deeply connected the Slavic people were to the Dnieper River. It wasn't simply a source of water, it was interwoven with their entire lives, their beliefs, their survival.
So, for those of us who aren't familiar with this creature, can you paint a picture? What exactly is the Dnieper Triton?
So imagine a being that's the embodiment of the river itself, half man, half fish, able to move between these two worlds seamlessly, with eyes that gleam like moonlight hitting the water. Haunting, but also mesmerizing.
Definitely haunting. I'm intrigued by the duality of this creature, this human and fish aspect. Does that play into its character in the legend at all?
Absolutely. It reflects the duality of the river itself. You see, the Dnieper Triton could be a benevolent guide, a protector of those who feared respect for the river's power. Imagine, a fisherman lost in a thick fog, or a boat trapped in a sudden storm. The Triton emerges, guiding their safety, a beacon of hope in the face of danger.
So not just a terrifying monster, but a guardian spirit of the river.
Precisely. But just like any force of nature, there's another side to that power. The Dnieper Triton was fiercely protective of the river's purity, its balance. If you dared to pollute its waters, disrespect it, or exploit it, well, legend says you faced the Triton's wrath.
So there were consequences for those who didn't respect the river. What kind of consequences are we talking about?
They say the Triton would drag those who went against the river down to the depths, never to be seen again. It's a pretty chilling image. It speaks to the power the Slavic people associated with this creature, and to their understanding that disrespecting the river could have dire consequences.
It's like a reminder, even from ancient times, about the importance of respecting the environment. The Triton almost acts as a mythical enforcer, keeping that balance between humanity and nature.
Right. And it's not just about punishment. The legend also highlights the importance of reverence, of gratitude for the river. They held festivals in the Triton's honor, offered flowers and fish as tokens of respect, seeking its blessing and protection.
It's amazing how this figure, this myth, is so tied into their daily lives and rituals. It's more than just a scary story. It's like a way of life, almost a code of conduct.
Exactly. It shaped their relationship with the river, reminded them of its power, beauty, and how essential it was to their survival.
It makes you think, if this kind of reverence for nature, embodied in figures like the Dnieper Triton, could teach us something valuable today.
There's definitely wisdom in these ancient beliefs. The understanding that we're not separate from nature, but a part of it, is a perspective that we may have lost touch with in the modern world.
And this idea of a river deity, a protector of the waters, it's not unique to the Slavic tribes, is it? There are other cultures with similar figures, right?
You're absolutely right. It's a common thread you see in many cultures that lived by rivers. The ancient Greeks had river gods, each with their own unique powers and personalities.
It speaks to a universal understanding of the power and importance of rivers to human civilization. They're not just geographical features. They're life-giving forces that shape cultures, beliefs, even fears.
Exactly. And these mythical figures like the Dnieper Triton, they serve as these powerful reminders of that connection, that enduring connection between humanity and the natural world.
Speaking of connections, I'm curious about how other cultures have imagined the realm of the dead, the figures that guide us through that final journey. The Dnieper Triton seems focused on protecting the living, but what about those who have passed on?
That's a great point. While the Triton protected the living, other mythical figures dealt with the realm of the dead, like Chiron, the ferryman of the river Styx in Greek mythology. His role wasn't so much about protection as it was about ensuring safe passage to the afterlife.
Chiron, the ferryman of the river Styx. Now that's a figure that captures the imagination. Tell us more about him and his role in Greek mythology.
Imagine the river Styx as the boundary between the world of the living and the realm of the dead, a dark, mysterious river that all souls must cross to reach their final destination. And Chiron, this somber figure, cloaked in shadows, is the sole ferryman guiding them across.
He sounds like a rather formidable figure. What was his role in this journey to the afterlife? Was he a benevolent guide or something more ominous?
Well, unlike the Dnieper Triton, Chiron wasn't known for his kindness or compassion. He was stern, unwavering, bound by the laws of the underworld. He demanded payment for his services, a single obol, a small coin, to ferry the souls across the river Styx.
So even in death, there were tolls to be paid. What happened to those who couldn't afford Chiron's fee? Were they left to wander the shores of the river Styx for eternity?
A grim fate indeed. Those who arrived at the riverbank without the means to pay were condemned to wander the shores for 100 years, unable to find peace or passage to the underworld.
It really paints a picture of how important proper burial rites were to the ancient Greeks. The obol wasn't just a coin, it was a symbol of being prepared for that final journey.
Exactly. It highlights the belief that actions in life had consequences that extended even into the afterlife. One had to be prepared for the journey, both physically and spiritually.
It's a stark contrast to the Dnieper Triton, who offered guidance and protection to those who respected the river in life. Charon, on the other hand, seems more like a gatekeeper, a bureaucratic figure who ensures the smooth running of the underworld.
You could say that. Charon's role was to maintain order in the realm of the dead, to ensure that only those who had properly prepared for the journey could cross the river Styx. His focus was on maintaining the balance of the afterlife rather than offering mercy or compassion.
Both figures, however, speak to a deep human fascination with what lies beyond this life, with the forces that govern both our physical world and the realms we cannot see.
And they highlight the power of mythology to shape our understanding of these mysteries, to offer explanations and comfort in the face of the unknown.
It's remarkable how these ancient stories continue to resonate with us today, offering insights into our shared human experiences and the enduring questions about life, death, and the forces that shape our existence.
Indeed. The exploration of these myths allows us to connect with the past, to understand the beliefs and fears of our ancestors, and perhaps to find new perspectives on our own lives and the world around us.
I think that's a perfect place to pause for a moment. We've journeyed from the depths of the Dnieper River to the shadowy banks of the river Styx, encountering mythical figures who guard both the living and the dead. When we return, we'll continue our exploration of terror and urban myths, delving into creatures that lurk not in the water, but in the shadows, preying on our deepest fears. Stay with us.
You know, it's like the human mind is always searching for explanations, right? We weave these stories, these myths, especially to make sense of the things that frighten us, those dark corners of the world.
It's almost as if our ancestors were trying to warn us, Like, hey, enjoy the beauty of the river, but don't forget its power, its dangers. Something might be watching.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, a way to pass down knowledge, warnings even, through generations.
And speaking of warnings, I was reading about another creature connected to water, Charon. He's the ferryman of the dead in Greek mythology.
Oh, Charon. Yeah, he's an interesting one. Not quite as benevolent as the Dnieper Triton, but just as important when it comes to the journey of the soul after death.
So, for those who aren't familiar, can you give us the rundown on who Charon was, why he was so significant?
Well, picture the underworld, the realm of Hades. It's dark, mysterious. To get there, souls have to cross this river, the river Styx. That's where Charon comes in. He's the one who ferries those souls across to their final destination.
I'm picturing this rickety old boat, maybe a little fog rolling in, and there's Charon, this weathered old man, steering the souls across.
You're not far off. He's often depicted as an old man with a beard, a very serious expression, not someone you'd want to chat with in a party.
And did he do all this out of the kindness of his heart? I mean, was it a free service?
Not quite. Charon wasn't known for his generosity. He actually required payment for his services.
Ah, so even in the afterlife, got to pay the bills. What is the going rate, the cost of a one-way ticket across the river Styx?
1 obol, a small coin. It was actually tradition to place this coin in the mouth of the deceased before burial. That way they could pay Charon for their passage.
That's some serious forward planning. But what about those who showed up without any money? What happened to them?
Let's just say it wasn't a good outcome. Those who couldn't pay were left to wander the banks of the river Styx for 100 years. No peace, no passage.
That's rough, like being stuck in airport limbo forever. So close, but unable to reach your destination.
Exactly. It really highlights the importance the Greeks placed on those proper burial rites. It wasn't just a coin, it was about preparedness, ensuring a smooth transition into the afterlife.
It's like a cosmic version of you get what you pay for.
Right, and Charon, he was all about upholding that order in the underworld. Only those properly prepared got across.
So it reflects the values of their society, right? Proper burial, respect for the dead, getting your affairs in order.
Absolutely. It's a potent reminder of death's inevitability and the need to be prepared for what comes after.
It really makes you think. But for now, let's step away from the watery depths and into the shadows, the forests, the realm of the boogeyman, those figures that fuel nightmares.
Ah, the boogeyman. It's fascinating how every culture seems to have their own version, right? It's like this universal embodiment of our primal fears, the unknown lurking in the darkness.
It's the ultimate cautionary tale for kids, right? Be good or the boogeyman will get you. I remember being terrified of him as a child.
Oh yeah, like in Germany, there's Der Schwarze, the black man, this shadowy figure hiding in the forests, ready to snatch up any misbehaving children who wander off alone. At least that's what parents would tell their kids.
That's creepy. I can still remember all those scary stories, hiding under the covers, convinced the boogeyman was going to grab my ankles.
It taps into a universal fear, right? That something is hiding in the darkness, waiting to take us.
It's like a primal fear, the unknown, that vulnerability we feel in the dark.
But even though these boogeymen are terrifying, they serve a purpose, right? Teaching children boundaries, the importance of listening to their parents, staying safe.
A little bit of fear, strategically applied.
In a way, yes. It's about instilling respect for danger, for the unknown.
So from the depths of rivers to the darkness of forests, these myths, they tap into something deep within us, don't they? Our fears, hopes, the need to make sense of the world.
That's their power, their enduring power. They might be ancient, but they still resonate with us because they address these timeless elements of the human experience.
They're a testament to the power of our imagination, our persistent need to understand the world. From river guardians to shadowy boogeymen, I've covered some fascinating territory tonight.
And there are so many more stories out there just waiting to be explored, each one a glimpse into the beliefs and fears of different cultures.
You know, I'd love to explore further. What about creatures that embody both creation and destruction? Are there myths that touch on that kind of duality?
Absolutely. In Australian Aboriginal mythology, you have the rainbow serpent, this incredibly powerful creator deity. Imagine a massive, shimmering serpent moving across the land, shaping mountains and rivers with its body.
That's epic. A living, breathing force of nature.
Exactly. Aboriginal tribes revered it as a life giver, the shaper of their world. But it also had a fierce side. If you disrespected the land, violated sacred laws, you could face its wrath.
It's a powerful reminder that even creation can be destructive if we don't respect the balance of nature.
It's about understanding that interconnectedness, that delicate harmony within the natural world.
And serpent deities, especially powerful ones, are present in many cultures. They're often connected to both creation and destruction. Seems to be a universal archetype.
You're right. It reflects the awe and fear we've always had toward serpents. They represent both the life-giving power of nature and its potential for destruction.
Reminding us that we're not separate from nature, but a part of it.
And that our actions have consequences. The rainbow serpent really embodies that duality beautifully.
On that note, let's wrap up our deep dive into terror and urban myths for tonight.
We've traveled from river depths to the heavens above, encountering creatures that reflect the hopes, fears, and beliefs of the cultures that created them.
It's amazing how these stories, centuries old, still captivate us. They remind us of the power of our imagination and our enduring need to understand the world around us.
They challenge us to think about our relationship with the unknown, with those forces, seen and unseen, that shape our lives.
So next time you find yourself by a river, in a forest, or even gazing at the moon, remember these stories. You never know what creatures might be lurking in the shadows, what legends the wind might whisper. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Don't forget to subscribe and give us a like if you enjoyed the show.
You know, as we wrap up, it strikes me how we've journeyed through these myths and legends, from those river guardians to the shadowy boogeyman and even that ferryman of the dead. And it's incredible how these figures, often meant to terrify, actually serve a deeper purpose.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. It's not just about scaring us, right? It's about understanding these forces that shape the world, the things we can see and those we can't. Exactly. It's like there are these cautionary tales, these reminders about the power of nature, the consequences of our actions, like the Dnieper Triton punishing those who polluted the river, or Chiron demanding payment for safe passage to the afterlife.
And who could forget the boogeyman, lurking in those shadows, but teaching kids about boundaries, about listening to their parents.
It's amazing how these stories, ancient as they are, still have this hold on us, tapping into our deepest fears, but also offering guidance, wisdom.
Right. Reminding us we're all connected, part of this larger web of existence, connected to the natural world, to the forces that govern it all.
And speaking of connections, we've talked about creatures that protect, that guide, but what about those that embody both creation and destruction? The ones that represent that duality inherent in nature itself.
You're thinking of figures like the rainbow serpent in Australian Aboriginal mythology, right?
Exactly. A creature that can shape mountains and rivers with its massive body, but also possesses this fierce side, capable of unleashing wrath on those who disrespect the land.
The rainbow serpent is such a powerful symbol of those creative and destructive forces in nature. It's like this reminder that they're intertwined, inseparable, and that we need to respect both.
It's a concept that echoes across cultures, doesn't it? This idea that creation and destruction are two sides of the same coin. To truly understand the world, we we have to embrace both.
I think these myths push us to look beyond those simple categories of good and evil, to see the complexity, the nuance, and the forces that shape our lives.
And to remember that even in the darkest of tales, there's always something to be learned about ourselves, about the world, about that delicate balance that makes life possible.
So next time you come across a myth or legend, don't just rough it off as a scary story. Dig a little deeper, think about what it symbolizes, what it might reveal about the human experience.
We've gone from the depths of rivers to shadowy forests, even crossed that boundary between life and death. It's been a truly fascinating deep dive into terror and urban myths.
And the power these stories still hold over our imagination is incredible.
But the journey doesn't end here. There are so many more myths and legends out there waiting to be explored, each one a glimpse into the human psyche, into those mysteries of the world around us.
So keep exploring, keep asking questions, seek out those stories that spark your curiosity, that ignite your imagination. You never know what hidden truths, what insights you might uncover.
And remember, sometimes those terrifying tales, those are the ones that teach us the most valuable lessons about ourselves, about nature, about the forces that shape everything we know. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into terror and urban myths. Don't forget to subscribe and give us a like if you enjoyed the show. Until next time, keep exploring those captivating tales.